Hey, John here. Think you can take a glance behind me here. We got one of them snowstorms stuck to everything, so I thought I'd take a few minutes. Let's talk saw chaps, okay? Maybe the wind will kick up and knock some of this snow off. But with the saw chap issue, you know how it goes with the algorithms in YouTube. You watch one and they think, wow, you want to see that? We'll show you a whole bunch of them. And what I see out there is these demonstrations on what happens to the saw when they hook into a pair of chaps. And we've seen it, right? You know, the fibers bind up the chain. But I thought I'd throw my little mix into here, and then I'm actually going to be crazy enough to do this to myself. So let's see how it goes. Not what you were expecting, I'm guessing, right? Let's talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about this. Saw chaps. I've been involved with logger training programs for years and sat through a lot of meetings on strategy meetings on what training to do and where the focus should be. And there's something that I've seen over the years that I just want to kick in here real quick, and I think this chap demonstration is a good example of this, and that is we want to be careful that the sensational doesn't overshadow the frequent. And what I mean by that here in the context of this saw chap chainsaw demonstration, can we think about to do this demonstration where we're taking a saw full throttle and laying it across, a log, say. Well, that seems sensational, right? Jams the chain up. But think about this now. Look at the position that I'm trying to hold this saw in and trying to come down at a 90-degree across my leg and then holding onto the throttle. Is that realistic? Is it possible? Sure. Is it, frequent? Probably not. Let's look at what can happen, more apt to happen here with running a saw. We're doing our thing, right? We're cutting wood up. Get the pulling chain from the saw, pulls the saw, maybe slips a little bit off, you get a little bit off balance and so on, and the saw can get shoved back at you, right? You've got this pushing chain on the top, so you lay into a limb that's got some tension on it, and it shoves that saw back into you. And can we see where, I'm going to adjust this down a little bit, right, just to kind of redo quickly that little demonstration where the saw strikes the bottom of that chap, and the first tooth that touches that bottom leg of the chap there, that first tooth hooks onto it. That chain's spinning 40 miles an hour, flips that chap out of the way and exposes your lower leg. So, life-threatening? No, probably not. Life-changing? Very easily, right? We take a saw cut in the lower leg. It is really, really bad because the lower leg, front of the shin, ankle, there's no soft tissue there, right? Chain is going to go right to the bone, and not only is the physical damage really bad, but trying to heal a wound down on your lower leg like that without that soft tissue, you don't have a lot of good blood flow, and it can be very difficult to heal that wound. Now let's come back, let's go back up a little bit here on the leg, can we appreciate the potential of that pushback, right, or a slip, and the saw comes down and it strikes here up into this leg, or either leg, really, right? So just down here a little bit, can we see the chain twisting the chap? And if that chain, I'm going to come around this way, that chain twists this chap just a little bit. Can you see where this is going to expose the inside of that knee joint a little bit higher, and we're up into that femoral artery? Now, this has happened. Okay, I was working with a crew. They were working on a ski mountain, maintenance crew, running a chainsaw, clearing trails back, and you're cutting brush. Well, chainsaw is not made to cut brush, but we do it. Chain hooked into that brush, yanked on the saw, slipped a little bit, and in the tumbling down around, he ended up coming into the inside of his leg with that saw. And I was working with a crew where that was, part of that incident. And they said it very easily could have been a fatality had the crew not been there to jump right on him, control that bleeding, and he's fine. He made it. But that's really scary stuff. So what can we do with chaps to minimize that risk of the chain yanking it right out of the way and then getting cut? Well, with the chaps, right, we can tighten the straps up so it secures the chap down. Well, the problem, of course, is we can't move. If the chap can't move, we can't move, so we tend to just naturally leave the chap a little bit loose so we can climb through the brush with the saw and, do our thing. So a little heads up there on the chap. Now, there are basically 3 different styles of saw protection for the leg, and I want to cover these here. What I have on here is, we think of it as a straight apron style chap. This was really the first design of the chaps way back when. So an apron chap. Here I have, and you've probably seen them or use them, this was referred to as a calf wrap style chap. Just a little modification from the apron where they widen the bottom of on the lower leg. It wraps around your calf. So that's going to secure that down a little bit better, right? That lifting effect. Plus you've got the chain wrap, the saw protection wrapped around your leg. There is the third style of saw protection. They call them leggings, where it's just an individual pant leg that slides up over your leg. I don't have a pair of those, but you know what I mean there. And then there is what I'm wearing is the pants. So I'm going to shed these off. And this is one of the reasons that I gave up wearing chaps a long time ago, is this buckling things on and off. But what I have here, I have a pair of arbor wear pants. Really like them. A couple things about them is, one, I've got calf wrap below the knee. I got the saw protection all the way around the leg below the knee. The other is, I like the fact that the saw protection comes all the way up to my belt. Now with chaps, and completely disregard any brand you might see here while I'm doing this, what I'm talking about is when you lay the chap on, you can see it better here with these guys, okay? You lay those chaps on, you can see the stitch line right here. You see that's kind of, it's down lower on my leg. It's very common. Well, this is a zone right here that I don't want to have a saw getting shoved back into me and having this exposed to that saw chain. So I really like the fact that that material comes all the way up to my belt. The other part of this is, on the lower leg, you can see this, but down here on the front, there's a clip that hooks right into my shoelace. So there, you've got that, it's going to almost eliminate, or at least minimize, that chain yanking that pant leg up and exposing the front of my leg. The other that I find is kind of a fringe benefit with that buckle idea is stomping through the deep snow. I don't have the snow shoving my pant leg up onto my boot. So it almost acts like a gaiter type of an idea. That's really nice. I have a pair of Cheryl tree pants for the summer. Really nice, very nice light material, very breathable. I have worn them in the winter. Throw some thermals on underneath, and they do work, but they are made more for that hot weather. So I'm hoping we can see a little bit of depends on what you're doing kind of thing. I do this for a living. I put my pants on in the morning, and I don't have to think about putting the chaps on. A caution that I've thrown out a lot of times when I'm doing the classes, when it comes to folks relying on the chaps, the snap-on chap system for their leg protection, is human nature kicking in, and we want to be careful of that. It's only going to take me a minute to do this cutting. I got a tree limb that fell in the driveway this morning. I got to get to work, and the chaps lay right over top of the saw. But, you know, it's just going to take me a second. Can you see where that story's going? Or, you know, could go. So be careful of that one. The flip side of that, of course, is you are going to run a saw for a short period of time. You can snap your chaps on, do your thing for a little bit, kick them off for the rest of the day, and you don't have to be wearing, you know, saw pants all day long. So it all depends on what system that you want to be, that you're actually using them for. But taking care of them, I want to throw in a quick comment on taking care of them. I'm going to throw in here a picture of the tag, the care and washing tag that I have on the pants. So be aware of that, okay? They've got some issues there that you just want to be aware of, okay? Hope that gives you a few things to think about, and please, questions, comments, let them fly. If you find this sort of thing useful, maybe for a friend, right? Pass it along, share it. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be cranking out some more. Please, questions, comments, let me know what you might, some subjects you might want to cover. Take care, and we'll see you in the woods. You probably noticed that I have a pair here that the left leg is pretty trashed. And it's a pair a friend of mine had that he gave them to me just to use as a little teaching prop. And a couple things here. You see, one, I could use it, you know, it's very easy. You could see the fibers that are inside. But two, this really happened to him. He was wearing these when he was burning brush. And right up, you know, chucking the brush into the brush pile, wind came up, stirred them embers up, and he realized real quick he had a pair of chaps on that were on fire. So think about it, where your saw chaps can take some saw gas. I don't know if you've ever done this, but forget to put the gas cap back in the saw. Been there, done that, right? Even if you haven't done that, your chaps are taking bar oil, you know, spraying off the saw all the time. So there's a could have been disastrous. He didn't get hurt. He got him out. But that explains this left leg here all chewed up.